So I'm going to do a quick lesson on multiplying decimals. Percents can be changed to decimals, and decimals are not that hard to do sometimes without a calculator. I'm going to look at this example down here at the bottom, this 0.25 times this 1.2. Basically, the way we do this is, if you remember in the scientific notation, we're allowed to kind of move decimals around. I can actually change the 0.25 to 25. Remembering, though, that I moved the decimal 2 places to the right. I can change the 1.2 to 12, but I got to remember that I moved the decimal 1 place to the right. So what I can do is throw the decimal out of the problem, essentially, and just multiply the whole numbers. So we can go 2 times 5 would be 10, so bring down to 0 and carry the 1. 2 times 2 would be 4, and add the 1 would be 5. Remember, I have to put a placeholder here because this 1's in the tens place, so we'll use the 0 as a placeholder to keep that all lined up. So then we can just go 1 times 5 is 5, and 1 times 2 is 2. And then we add those two together, and we have 0 and 0 is 0, 5 and 5 is 10. We carry the 1, would be 3. And then the catch is putting the decimal back in the problem. Since we moved it a total of 3 to the right, we got to move the decimal actually 3 places back to the left. So it ends up being then 0.3 as our answer, as we can drop the other trailing zeros since they don't have any value. So remember, percent means per 100. And, hundredths means basically move the decimal 2 places to the left. So I could change this to 0.06, and we said that word of means multiply, so that's like multiplying by 5. So what we can essentially do is just ignore the decimal and just think of the whole numbers. So 5 times 6 would be 30. And then basically what we did is we ignored 2 decimal places, so we have to put those 2 decimal places back in the problem. 1, 2, back to the left, and we end up with this 0.30. So we end up within that 30 cents tax, as we noticed. 20% of 600, again, we could change the percent to decimal, moving the decimal 2 places to the left. So what I have then essentially is 0.20 times then 600. I always like to put the bigger number on top. So in this case, the 600 has more digits, if you will. And then the 0.20 has fewer digits. So again, if I want to do this math, I can just go ahead and just go 0 times 0 is 0. This math is pretty easy. 0 times 0 is 0. This is really unnecessary because it doesn't add anything to the problem. But it just keeps things organized. 0 times 6 is then just 0 again. Then I can just move on to the 2. 2 times 0 is, oops, I got to put my 0 as a placeholder. And then I can move to the 2 times 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0. And 2 times 6 is 12. So we can bring down your zeros and the 2 and the 1. And remember, basically what I did is I moved the decimal over here and just focused on it as a 20. Since I moved it 2 places over to the right, I got to remember now to move 2 places back to the left to get the answer. 1, 2, and there it gives me that $120 discount that we had in the problem. So what it boils down to, when you multiply with decimals, you essentially just ignore the decimal, multiply like whole numbers, but however many decimal places you ignored, you got to move those back into the problem. So maybe that helps out a little bit with multiplying with decimals.